Hi, my name is Debbie. Somewhere in the world, they're recognizing Worldwide Benzodiazepine Awareness Day. Somewhere it's July 11th. Where I am, it's July 10th, 2017. And this is in honor of all those who are watching who are benzodiazepine survivors and warriors. On August 18th, 2016, not far from where I am now, at about the same elevation of probably 22 to 2,400 feet above sea level, I was found by the police in the woods. I was hiding from people I was afraid of, but I also was in severe withdrawal from benzodiazepines. I had taken them as prescribed, off and on since 1985. That was the first time I ever took a benzodiazepine. When I was found in the woods the day before, I had broke out a bunch of windows in my former boyfriend slash boss slash property owner where I lived on his house. Nobody was in there, wasn't hurting any people, but I was in a benzo-induced rage. I was in a withdrawal rage because on May 10th, 2016, I took my last opiate. And then on July 12th, 2016, I took what I had intended to be my last dose of Ativan. I had been tapering down, but I had very poor help from the medical community, and that is where I came from, as I am also a retired nurse. When I was found in the woods, I was suicidal. The night before, when I had broke the windows, I had sent a text message that I was going to hang myself. I had cut off all my hair and was going to start a fire with it and burn down the woods. I was in a benzodiazepine-induced psychosis from withdrawals. It was terrifying. I was absolutely terrified, and no one understood. Least of all me. I ended up being taken to a psychiatric unit for 12 days. The first 36 hours, I wouldn't speak at all. I wouldn't eat at all. I didn't drink at all. I was so mad. I was so angry because nobody understood. No one understood. I was going through some very difficult things in my life. There was a lot of things going on, and I was in withdrawal, severe withdrawal. I was treated so badly by the medical community. When I went to the hospital, they tried to be caring. Their way of caring was to give me more medications, including benzodiazepines. It's buggy right now. It's twilight. It's about the time that I got found. And it's very appropriate that I am where I am, and I'm doing this video right now. So July 12th, 2016 was when I had taken that, what I had hoped. And here I was in the hospital, and they're giving me more medications, and I had tapered off at that point 13 pharmaceuticals in 3 years. I had been polydrugged for decades. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I couldn't think straight, I was tense all the time. I was angry, which was and is not my personality at all. I still feel that too. It's hard. That's one of the really difficult symptoms that I had through this, and there's a lot of places that could come from. I'm working on it. Anyway, I had tapered down from using up to 3 milligrams a day of Ativan, and had been on it very consistently every day as prescribed by my primary care provider, who was a nurse practitioner, and she kept upping my dose because I wasn't sleeping, so I got into tolerance, which meant no matter how much I took, I wasn't going to sleep. And I hadn't slept in decades. I hadn't slept well in decades because of benzodiazepines and other medications. That night changed my life. I got out of the hospital to find myself homeless. And I still wasn't very well because all they'd done in the hospital was add more medications. That's all they know how to do. And sent me on my way. And after a couple days, I had another rage. I was trying to get my belongings, and it was a really, really crappy situation. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but I just want to say, you know, all the things that were happening, I hope if people involved knew what was going on with me, or had any foresight of it and utilized that, that was just, it hurt. It hurt. It really hurt, because that was a really scary time. And it's very hard to get support when you're coming off benzodiazepines. So much so that some people take their lives. Suicidal ideation and, unfortunately, completed suicides have been really common since I found out what this is. I'm really grateful I'm here. I'm really grateful. I haven't had a benzodiazepine since October 10th, 2016. Not one. And I've been through hell. This is living hell, what we go through. Because we can't work. Many people can't work. I hadn't been able to work for years, probably now knowing what I know from tolerance. Over and over and over. Not to mention that I also had Cipro 3 different times while I was on benzodiazepines, which is very toxic. And I was very sick each time. In hindsight now, the doctors just said, oh, it's just a reaction to the antibiotics, but you still have to take it. So I did, and I was sick. I've learned so much because of Benzodiazepine Awareness Day 2016. I've learned I'm not alone. I've learned I have an iatrogenic illness which was caused by medical harm. I've learned that people have it worse than I do sometimes. Some of the symptoms are so terrifying. We'll share them with one another, but it's hard to share them in the world because they're so flippin' bizarre, really. And people can't help it if they have weird movements. I had them inside, and I had to always move. It's called akathisia. It's terrible. It's just terrible because you can't stop. For me, I rocked all the time, and if I was trying to relax and lay down, I would just be like flopping. It was, and I've seen people have bizarre muscle contractures and not able to help it, and it's a rough way to live. It's a really rough way to live because people don't get it. And you try to explain to them, and they treat you like you're either an addict, or you're crazy, or something is wrong with you, that you were born wrong. It's just, people treat you not well when you have the symptoms that come with benzodiazepine withdrawal syndrome. I am so grateful that I did not harm myself out in that forest, just not far from here. And I'm healing. I'm so much better. I still have symptoms, but they're less and not as intense, and I have better control, and I have hope. I've seen enough people healing and gaining back their lives. So that's been great, because had I not found the benzodiazepine warriors through the various sites that I visited, such as Benzodiazepine Recovery on Facebook, and benzobuddies.org, Dr. Bregan's various videos, and the Ashton Manual, which is the Bible for tapering, which I didn't find out about until Benzodiazepine Awareness Day 2016. So I am so grateful to the community that gives hope every day while we work our butts off to live through this. Thank you. You are invaluable to the world. So I am honored and I am grateful to be a benzodiazepine survivor. And if you have a problem with benzodiazepines and they make you sick, if you have symptoms, I'm going to be listing various sites to visit to see if some of your symptoms, if you're on benzodiazepines for a long time, to see if maybe you're having tolerance, or if you've been kindled by taking them and being off, and taking them and being off, which I did. You know, from 1985 to 2017, that's a long time. And I don't know how it's all going to work out, but it does get better. So if any of this rings true for you, hang on and check out the sites. There's help and there's hope. There's understanding when it seems like nobody understands. Benzo warriors, we understand one another. Peace.